Hello everyone, this is Lam here. In today's Fuji Friday, I want to talk about the battery life of your Fuji cameras, specifically how to extend it. A lot of us know that these batteries right here, they're kind of small, so you really need to take care of how you use your battery while you're out in the field. Whether it's you trying to irk out the last bit of juice on your last battery, or you just don't want to carry around a lot of batteries, there's definitely ways that you can help yourself improve the battery life so that each one of them lasts as long as possible. So let's go ahead and get into them. One of the first things that I really want to talk about is actually the battery itself. A lot of times when you look at these batteries, you don't really want to keep them fully charged. This is just a chemistry things with lithium ion batteries. If you just set these on the charger and you expect the charger to keep them fully charged, what usually happens, and this happens to me a lot, is that the battery charge can actually lie to you. You can actually put this into the camera. It could read a full charge, but within like half an hour, it'll be a dead battery. If you see that, that's actually not the camera's fault. It's not your fault. It's just that the batteries, because of the cycles and you not discharging them, recharging them, they can lie to you. This is one of the things that you really need to think about. So when you have a lot of these batteries, you definitely want to cycle through all of them if you want these to be performing at their best. Especially these third-party batteries, they might not be as good as the premium or branded batteries, so definitely keep an eye on them. But the third-party batteries, if you do take care of them, they actually work very well, and you will save yourself a whole bunch of money, and you can buy more of these. So I actually don't have any problems buying third-party batteries so long as you know how to maintain them, which means you're going to have to cycle through them. You don't want to put them on the charger all the time, and then you just want to put them in a nice cool place so that when they're at rest, there's nothing bad that's going to happen to them. That's what's going to sustain these for long-term battery life. Now, the first thing that we're going to talk about in terms of how to extend your battery life is the actual screen itself. A lot of times when you turn on the camera, the back screen is going to turn on, and that's fine for everyday use. But if you really want to extend the battery life of your camera, what you really want to do is turn off the back screen. There is actually a little button called view mode on this side. A lot of people, when they first get their Fuji X cameras, what they do is they turn off their eye sensor. There's actually a better way of doing that. If you just hit the button on the side, on the second command, it'll be the LCD only one, and that will automatically turn off the eye sensor. So you don't have to change the first setting on your first mode. That's actually going to leave you with less options. All you have to do is use the view mode to turn off the eye sensor. Now, if you cycle through to the very end, what you're going to see is one of the settings will be just the eye sensor and the screen and at the back turned off. And this is the one that's going to be super useful to you, because what happens is that the screen at the back is going to be off, but when you put your eye to the EVF, it's going to turn that screen on. That's going to give you maximum battery life. So right now, the screen is off, but the second I have my hand to the eye sensor, the screen on the EVF turns on. So this is going to give you maximum battery life. It's actually very useful. I do this all the time when I'm recording videos or taking pictures. The next thing you can do is you can actually go into your power management settings. So you want to go to the wrench, and then you want to go into power management. And then there are two settings in there that are very useful. The auto power off is basically a battery saving mode that the camera can go into. I think the default is 2 minutes, which is actually pretty long, and the default isn't that bad. But if you're trying to scrape as much battery power out of your camera, I usually bring it down to 30 seconds. A lot of people out there will be like, I don't like 30 seconds because it's going to constantly turn off on me, and I totally understand that. But one thing that I will say about that is that if your camera constantly keeps turning off on you, you're basically developing bad habits. And this is one way that you can actually help yourself break these bad habits, in which every single time the camera goes into power saving mode, you know that you're wasting a lot of battery power keeping the camera on when you could have just turned it off in the first place, saving you more battery life. So that's something really important to remember. I would say go down to 30 seconds on something that you're shooting that's very casual, nothing you're getting paid for, and then experiment with what's good for you. Trust me, it will be annoying. It annoys me a little bit, but it definitely makes me a better photographer in terms of saving camera battery life, because I know that I'm constantly wasting battery power and I should be more cognizant of when I'm turning off my camera or having the camera on. Now, the second part of the power management is performance. There is normal and boosted, and honestly, I'm not sure without the battery grip whether or not boosted works, but I usually keep it on normal. It's one of those things where a lot of people will tell you always want it on boosted. That's kind of like saying when you're driving your car, you always need it to be at 6,000 RPMs or peak RPMs. I personally like to have it in normal mode, and I get used to the quirks of the camera. That way, when I put it into boosted mode, I actually see a boost in performance, and my reaction times will be faster because I've already gotten used to how the camera handles in normal mode. I am better at anticipating what the camera will do. Personally, on the XH1, I have it in normal mode, and I've never really felt that it's actually slow or lagging. In boosted mode, if I do get additional performance, that's great, but I really only need those at certain moments. So I'm pretty fine with taking the battery life in normal mode instead of having it constantly on boosted mode. That's my personal preference, but that's definitely something that you should really think about and look at. I think most people, if they just put it on normal mode and leave it there, within a few days, they won't even notice the difference between the camera latency period as opposed to using it constantly in boosted mode. Really, the last thing that I want to talk about is turning your camera off. I know it's pretty obvious, but I am terrible at turning the camera off, which is the reason why I always have the sleep mode down to 30 seconds, because it constantly reminds me that I am constantly leaving my camera on when I should be turning it off, because I'm not constantly looking through the viewfinder. So that's something that all of us could be better at, which is turning the camera off when we're not using it. And those are my ideas for extending the battery life of your Fuji X cameras. If you have ones that I've missed, please leave it in the comments below. I would love to learn from you and also add it to my repertoire. And until next time, have a great day.